Hi friends, it's Megan Lorson back with another video. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you do find it helpful. I make lots of content on bridal hair education, your bridal hair business, how to grow it, and everything in between. So if you are all about that kind of stuff, you want to learn and grow your bridal business and learn more about that, click below to subscribe. So today's video is going to be all about the crown area and how to get volume in the crown area when creating your bridal hairstyles, whether it be bridal updos or half up, half down styles. I'm going to show you different ways that you can get volume and texture in the crown and different ways that you can style the crown area depending on the look that your bride or bridesmaid or whoever you're doing the style on, depending on what they want. So let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is make sure that you know how much volume that your bride or whoever your client is, you want to know how much volume they want to see in the front. And that is going to determine where you start your prep work for the volume. So if they don't want to see quite as much, you're going to start back further. If they want more of a bump and they want to see more volume in the front, you're going to start further up on the head. So I would say on average, most people want an average amount of volume. So I start by sectioning from the top of the head and I take a zigzag section like right behind the ear. And then I comb all of this back so it starts to create that volume back there. So I'm gonna just base my parting and everything I show you off of this specific part, but just know that whatever your client wants and likes is going to determine where you start your parting. So the first technique is probably gonna be the most common, the one that most people go to and use the most, which is just going to be taking my either a teasing comb or a brush or a rat tail comb, which is what I'm going to be using. This is what I typically use most of the time, and depending on the texture of hair and what you're trying to achieve, different brushes can sometimes give you different results. So if you use a teasing brush, which has more coarser, tightly packed bristles, sometimes this can be helpful if teasing on like finer hair textures, things like that. But typically for most all hair types, I'm using my pink pewter comb. I just love this comb so much. It's just so good. So I would take the end of my tail comb and start sectioning the hair. And typically what I do is I'll take a little bit of my Osis Soft Dust. This is by Schwarzkopf. It is so good, you guys. Oh my gosh, if you don't have soft dust in your bridal hair kit, you need this. So I just first start by spraying or pumping a little bit of this dust onto the root of the hair, and I just want it on the root. You really don't want this product to get anywhere further down because it does have a lot of grip and texture. And if it gets down on the hair, it's going to be a lot harder to work with this hair and it's going to create a lot more frizz. So spray it just at the root, and then what I do is I like to go in and tease the hair. And the magic number of like teasing strokes for me is 12. For me, it just locks it in. Doing those 12 strokes just really keeps that tease locked in. Also, when I'm teasing, I'm not starting up here and like way up high and teasing. I'm literally spraying that product at the root, and then I'm keeping my tease right close to the root because I just want that hair to stand up to give it that little bit of extra volume. And then I just continue to tease back all the way. You can really tease as far down as you'd like. Again, it just depends on what style you're doing and how much volume you're trying to give your client. But typically I will stop teasing right about the occipital bone, right above it, somewhere around there. And that's typically going to give you the perfect amount of volume. I'm not going to continue to spray soft dust or spray. It's not really spray because it's a powder. I'm not gonna pump any more texture powder because she's got so much texture in her hair right now. But I just want to finish teasing it far enough down so you guys can see what the end result is of this method. And then I'll do one more. 12. Okay. And then what I like to do is flip all of this hair back. And then I take my comb and I just lightly comb over that. And don't be afraid to comb over your tease. You don't want to go in with some kind of detangle brush, and you don't want to take your comb or your teasing brush and go so far into the hair and put a lot of pressure. So make sure you're lightly combing over it. This is going to smooth any frizz on that top layer. And then there's so much cushion and volume in the hair. So then what you could do is, I like to take my fingers and just kind of lightly do like a zigzag motion to section that hair. And when I do this, I'm not taking a ton of hair. I'm not going super deep into the hair or anything like that, because if you take too much hair, it's going to be hard to secure this crown area. So what you could do now is you could lightly twist the hair or do like a little half twist and push up, and you could just pin that. You could, before you pin it, you could pull out some texture and a little bit more volume if you want it a little bit more messier looking, piecier. And I'm just pulling out that top layer. I'm not going like deep into the hair. So you could easily do this and just give it a little bit more texture and definition. And then when you're happy with it, then you can pin it. And then after you pin it, you can go back in and define these ridges more, pull it out more if you want it to be pulled out more. So that is one way, and hopefully you all can see that good. Her hair is darker, so it is a little bit harder to see sometimes. And then from the side, you can see that. So that is one way to do the crown area. Okay, this other way to do a crown area is if you want more of a defined, twisted looking, half up, half down, what I would do is basically split this back section kind of in the middle. And I never do perfect sectioning when I'm doing updos. It's always like some kind of zigzag, or I'll use my fingers to kind of make it unperfect, because if it's perfect, clean sectioning lines, a lot of times it makes it a lot harder to blend your styles and make them look like they flow together. So I'm going to split this in half, and then I'm just going to twist it and then pinch and pull some of this texture out. And then I would just go ahead and take a bobby pin and pin it. And then I would come over here. And again, I'm not taking too much hair. And then I would twist this section into the middle and then pinch and pull out the texture and volume. And then you have like a little bit of a twisty motion thing happening in the center if you are going for that kind of look. I'm just going to pin this straight up. And then once it's bobby pinned in, you can pinch and pull, and it gives a little bit more texture. Then you can complete your updo however, or if you're doing like a half up, half down style, you could easily do this, twist in the sides, or however you'd like. So that is another way you can do the crown area. You can still see she's got so much volume. So that is another way. And then for more texture and more definition, you can break up this middle or the crown section into even more sections. So you can start off by taking a section in the middle and twisting it and pinch and pull. And then you could go ahead and pin that middle section. And then you could go in on this side, and you could twist this side and then pinch and pull this out. So it's giving it more twisting texture throughout this crown area. Pinch and pull this out. And then you could put another bobby pin in there to secure that. And you can continue to pinch and pull out the volume that you want. And then you can come over here and do the same thing. You're going to twist in towards that center and then start to pinch and pull out some volume, pull out that texture. And then you can see that gives even a little bit more of a different look through that crown area. If you're doing a more boho style or just any style that has more texture in it, you can see how it can give it more dimension, more texture. So that is another way that you could do it. One other way that I love doing the crown area, especially on someone who has really thick, like super thick, super heavy hair, is to gather the hair and take an elastic band and secure the crown area with an elastic. And then I'm just very careful when I put the elastic in that I'm not like grabbing hair, and I'm keeping that crown area in place and I'm not like twisting it or anything. And then once the elastic is in place, then I can very gently start pulling out some more volume, and I can get as much volume and height as I'd like, can do as much texture as I'd like. And I am doing this very quickly to show you guys all the different ways, but you get the picture. So this is a great way. And then of course, if you are going to do an updo, that elastic band would be covered. If you're going to do a half up, half down, you can cover it with some kind of twist when you bring the sides back, or the updo can kind of go up into the whole thing. So that's completely covered. So that is another way that you could do the crown area. Okay, and this last way I'm going to show you is not necessarily a technique for the crown area, but it's more so how to get volume in the crown area. So if you do not want to have as much teasing in the hair maybe, or you're just working on someone with super fine hair or super slippery, like no matter what, it just doesn't hold tease, or maybe if you tease it, you can literally like just see it through the hair because their hair is that fine and that thin, then I highly, highly, highly suggest going in and using a crimper. Like this is also a must-have in your kit. This is the most amazing tool to add texture and volume in someone's hair who has very like flat, lifeless hair, nothing holds volume in the hair. This is the tool that you need to use. So it's super easy to use and it's really quick. Typically, I'm only using it at like the crown area, and then I also like to use it on the front part of the hair too to give more lift and volume in the front as well if needed. So what I like to do is take a very thin layer, and I like to leave this out at the top. Now you can crimp this first layer. This isn't like the only way to do it. Some people's hair shows the crimp a lot more, just depending on the style and everything. A lot of times though, I will just leave this very thin front section out. And then I will start in with the crimper on the next section. So I like to take very thin sections. And the reason I take very thin sections is because I want that crimp to be just at the root area. And the teeth on, this is the Zambia crimper. I will link it in the description box for you guys below. So if you're interested in it, it'll be down there so you can check it out. But this is the Zambia crimping iron. And if you can tell, the teeth are super tiny and they're very fine. So it's a very fine crimp, so you don't see it in the hair. So if you're scared of like, oh my gosh, you would see that, that would look horrible, you don't. It blends in super well. It camouflages right into the hair because of how tiny the crimping is. So I take very fine sections, and I don't know if you can tell on camera how thin this is, but it's really thin. And that allows the crimper to get super, super close to that root area. And I just go in back and forth around that section just at the base and just give it a couple taps. And then I will continue to do this and work it back as far as I need to or want to, depending on how much volume I need. And again, and you want to make sure your sections are clean. If there's like lots of frizz or anything, clean that up, smooth it out first. And then I just go in, give it a couple taps to really work that texture in there and just continue working my way back. All right, I'm gonna bring all this hair back that I just crimped, and I did comb out all the teas that we did previously just so you guys could kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the crimper does, but you literally can't even see it, and it just adds so much texture and volume into the hair. You can probably see it a little bit. It just totally helps to lift the hair. And just another little tip, the crimper is also super great to just bring all the way through the hair. If you don't want to see it, if you're going to do it all the way through the hair, again, sometimes I'll just crimp the hair inside, or if you're doing like a bun, do it, you know, where you're not going to see it. It's so fine that you really don't see it anywhere, but for someone who has finer hair, I will sometimes take the crimper and crimp the hair all the way down in little sections. And this doesn't have to take you a long time. Like, it's really quick. You just kind of go through the hair with it, crimp, 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 just all the way down. And this is going to build body and texture into the hair to help hold the style, to help expand the style. If you want to create more volume and make someone look like they have more hair, this is the tool you need. So anyways, not sponsored by Sanvia or the crimper or anything like that. I'm just letting you know it is such an amazing tool to have in your bridal kit, and you can do a lot of amazing things with it. So anyways, that is the completed tutorial slash video on all the different, well, that's not all the different ways. There's literally so many other different ways you can do the crown area. These are just a few of my favorite go-to ways that I like to add volume into the crown area and style the crown area for the majority of a lot of my styles. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Share my channel, this video, with your friends if you found it helpful. And if you practice or use any of these techniques, I don't even know what I just said, techniques, tag me on Instagram at megan.lorson. I would love to see your beautiful styles and repost them and share them on my Instagram stories. So make sure you guys tag me. If you have any other video suggestions, let me know in the comments below. I read all of them and try to respond to everybody. So definitely let me know if you have any suggestions. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.